Hi there, I'm Jackson. I'm a 26-year-old guy from Perth. I'm heterosexual. I mention this not to create a rift with or alienate anyone, but to highlight that I have no personal stake in what I'm about to put forward. Without any further ado, I'll come right out and say it. Same-sex marriage should be legalised within Australia. It is my opinion that same-sex marriage not being legal in Australia creates a state of inequality between heterosexual and non-heterosexual people, and that to further advance the prosperity and quality of our country, this should be changed. But of course, I wouldn't expect to convince anyone without explaining why, hence this video. Before I get into my reasons that same-sex marriage should be legalised though, I would like to nip a few counter-arguments that commonly spring up in regards to this topic. Firstly, some people are under the impression that if we allow same-sex marriage, then we are opening the door to allow all kinds of currently illegal marriages, such as marriages between siblings and between people and animals. This is what's known as a slippery slope argument, and is an argumentative fallacy due to the idea that we, as people, cannot evaluate events and ideas on their own merits, but will simply fold to history and precedent when making determinations. Note that in science you can get slippery slope ideas that hold true. For example, if you drop a large object from a high distance, the consequence follows that there will be an impact at its point of landing, with further consequences as a result of that impact. But when it comes to philosophical argument, it is often a fallacy. To highlight this, let us look at an example of a person who is on trial for a minor assault charge, and is given a suspended sentence due to being remorseful, having good character within the community, and being a first-time offender. One could make the argument that if this person is allowed to get off with a suspended sentence, then it opens the door down the road for a murderer who is remorseful, has good character, and is a first-time offender to potentially be given a suspended sentence. The reason that the argument is fallacious is that it ignores the ability for individuals and societies to think and analyse ideas and events on their own merits. Bringing the point back to same-sex marriage, legalising same-sex marriage will not automatically open the door for other kinds of currently illegal marriages to be made legal. For any other proposed marriage, the circumstances would need to be evaluated and a judgment made on their validity, and that is certainly something we, as an intelligent society, can do. But I'll leave this point with one picture. As recently as 5 decades ago, it was illegal within some states within the United States for African American people and Caucasian people to get married. It is now rightfully legal to do so. And you know what? That legalization didn't automatically open the door for same-sex marriage to become legal. To this day, we are still judging that idea on its own merit, not on the merit of the now legal ideas that came before it. The second counter-argument that I hear frequently is that marriage has been defined as the uniting of a man and a woman. To explain why this counter-argument is flawed, we have to first determine where this definition is coming from. If the argument is coming from the religious definition of marriage, then the flaw with the argument is that the primary desire of same-sex marriage advocates is for the government to recognise same-sex marriage, not for various religions to do so. As such, the religious definition does not apply. If the argument is coming from the dictionary definition of marriage, then there are two flaws with this. Firstly, the dictionary is a source of reference authored by people, using definitions dictated by society. If society deems that a definition should be changed, it can be changed. As a major example of this, the term Google was recently introduced into various dictionaries, with the definition to use the Google search engine to obtain information on the World Wide Web. Years ago, this was not a definition in the dictionary, but society deemed it worthy, and as such, the definition was changed. The same could be done for marriage. However, the second flaw is that marriage between people of the same sex has already been defined in the dictionary. From the Merriam-Webster dictionary, the state of being united to a person of the same sex in a relationship like that of traditional marriage, same-sex marriage. In fact, out of the 5 entries on marriage in their dictionary, only 1 references opposite-sex marriage. To sum up the second counter-argument, the religious definition of marriage holds no weight against the legalisation of same-sex marriage, as the proponents of the legalisation of same-sex marriage are not trying to change any religious beliefs or definitions. The dictionary definition of marriage not only already includes same-sex marriage, but the dictionary can be updated to reflect the current definitions of societies, and in fact has been regarding many definitions over the years. The third counter-argument that I see pop up a fair bit is the idea that same-sex relationships are unnatural and wrong, and as such should not be legitimised by the government via the legalisation of same-sex marriage. This argument, too, is fallacious. If we define natural as something that occurs normally in the environment, then the majority of animal species on the Earth demonstrate that homosexuality occurs naturally, as most animals engage in it. And if you talk to many homosexual people, they will tell you that at no point did they choose to be gay. They naturally felt that way, without any active choice. If we look at the idea of it being wrong, we must define morality. Morality itself is a subject of great debate, but when it comes to secular morality, I personally like Rotary International's four-way test, which involves assessing a thought or action under these four criteria. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Let's assess homosexual relationships under these. Is it the truth? Well, it's certainly not a lie, and to take it one step further, we've established that it's natural, so yes, it's the truth. Is it fair to all concerned? Well, being in a homosexual relationship isn't unfair to anyone, and is more fair to those involved, the couple who love each other enough to enter into the relationship, than the idea of outsiders deciding against letting them be in a relationship for whatever reasons. So yes, it seems fair. Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Well, for the couple involved, it allows them to become closer, increasing their goodwill between each other and their relationship. For the couple and the community at large, the positive energy that being in such a relationship creates is a good thing, and makes the couple a happier entity within the community. So yes, it does build goodwill and better friendships. And will it be beneficial to all concerned? Well, the couple will have the same freedom and rights as heterosexual couples do, and will be able to pursue the path they feel will lead to more happiness. So it's certainly beneficial to them. And in turn, they'll be happier, positive members of the community, so it will be beneficial to the community at large. So yes, it will be beneficial to all concerned. As we can see, being homosexual is perfectly natural, and according to secular morality tests such as that of Rotary International, is not immoral in the slightest. The idea of homosexuality being unnatural and wrong from a secular point of view is fallacious. Okay, so we've tried to negate some counter-arguments initially, but really, an idea should not be legalised just because there are no drawbacks. It should have good reasons to be entered into law. So, the question is, why should we legalise same-sex marriage? The answer, surprisingly, is incredibly simple: equal rights and freedom. As a society, with our secular morality, we have determined that everyone within our society should have equal rights, and everyone should have freedom. Denying homosexuals the right to get married to their partner means that they do not have equal rights, given that we have established that there is no downside to allowing them to do so. Denying them this right also denies them the freedom to pursue happiness in the moral way that they see fit. If we look at the Universal Declaration of Human Rights set forth by the General Assembly of the United Nations, the very first article describes what the world's position is on rights. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with reason and conscience and should act towards one another in a spirit of brotherhood. The second article takes it further, highlighting how people should have equal rights despite their differences. Everyone is entitled to all the rights and freedoms set forth in this declaration, without distinction of any kind, such as race, colour, sex, language, religion, political or other opinion, national or social origin, property, birth, or other status. Article 16 even talks about equal rights regarding marriage. Men and women of full age, without any limitation due to race, nationality, or religion, have the right to marry and to found a family. They are entitled to equal rights as to marriage, during marriage, and at its dissolution. The only difference between a homosexual person and a heterosexual person is their sexual orientation. Besides that, they are no different, no better nor worse than anyone else. Yet this denial of the right to be legally married means that homosexuals and heterosexuals do not have equal rights. And this is why we are pushing for the law to be changed. Not to give any group of people within Australia more than other groups have, but to elevate one group to an equal ground with the rest of the country. The people who are in favour of this idea are pushing for it because they believe in equal rights and freedom, and to that end it is the right thing to do. They are doing it because it is right and moral to do so. To get a bit personal on this subject, I love Australia. I'm very happy to live here. I, and many other Australians, have a great way of life. And compared to many other countries in the world, I feel that Australia has many intelligent minds that we should be proud of. One of the reasons that I am personally pushing this idea is that, because I am so proud of our country, I would like it to be at the front of this human rights issue, doing the right thing, and setting an example on the world stage. In 10, 20, 30 years' time, I want the next generations to look back at this point in time and say, Australia did a good thing in showing the world what its stance was on equal rights between people. I want the world to be able to look back at this time in future eras and know that Australia helped lead the charge towards a better, more accepting, loving and peaceful human race. So how can you help? Well, it's not difficult at all. Let our voices be heard. Share this video or make one of your own. Talk to people and tell them your opinion. Let your governmental representatives know that you want legislation to be changed and for same-sex marriage to be legalised. Our government represents us, the people, so we, the people, need to let them know how we want them to represent us. If the majority of people want this change, then in all likelihood it will change. And if I haven't convinced you that this cause is right and what we should be pushing for, then please, send me a message or leave a comment detailing your counter-arguments to the idea of same-sex marriage. If your counter-argument is valid and strong enough that it means same-sex marriage shouldn't be legalised, then it will be able to change minds to your position. However, if it's flawed, we'll be able to address it, and hopefully in doing so convince even more people, until the cause of equal rights in Australia is furthered and the world looks to us with heightened respect. At the end of the day, this is simply about equal rights. If you believe in equal rights between all people, then do what you can to further that goal. Thank you for watching, and I wish you all the best in the future. Be happy and well.